Hello friends, welcome to MALUKA IAS. Friends, today we would be discussing a very important question about Gandhi and his relevance in the 21st century. How it is relevant. इसी चीज़ को आपको पेपर 1 में पूछा जा सकता है, पेपर 4 में पूछा जा सकता है. फ्रेंड्स, ऐसे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं यूपीएससी आपसे पूछती है हर साल. एंड ये आंसर राइटिंग कोर्स जो हम फ्री में एक ऑफर कर रहे हैं स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, टू हेल्प स्टूडेंट, टू गाइड स्टूडेंट सो दैट दे कैन नो कि किस तरीके से बढ़िया आंसर उनको लिखने होते हैं एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. इसी कंटेक्स्ट में इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट जीएस की ये चल रही है डिस्कशन, प्लस इसके साथ ही ऑप्शनल पेपर जैसे एंथ्रोपोलॉजी हो गया, हिस्ट्री हो गया, पॉलिटिकल साइंस एंड इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस हो गया, हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में चल रहा है. एक कॉम्प्रहेंसिव तरीके से आपकी आंसर राइटिंग की प्रैक्टिस करवा रहे हैं एंड a very high quality answers are also being discussed and model answers are also being given so that आपको पता लग सके आपकी तैयारी किस तरीके से होनी चाहिए. Coming to the question, Gandhian principle and ideology is equally relevant in the present context. गांधी के principles और गांधी की ideology अभी भी relevant है. When you think about such question, it is very important to take a wider view. It is very important to take a very broad view in the context की गांधीयन आइडियोलॉजी के बारे में और गांधीयन प्रिंसिपल्स के बारे में आज के कंटेक्स्ट में हमें रेलिवेंस कैसे देखने को मिलता है. फ्रेंड्स, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट मल्टीपल थिंग्स दैट आर देयर, अगर हम इंट्रोडक्शन में ही टू मेक द एग्जामिनेशन वेरी क्लियर, एग्जामिनर वेरी क्लियर कि हम लिखने क्या वाले हैं, इंट्रोडक्शन, बॉडी पार्ट और फॉर एग्जाम्पल कंक्लूजन या वे फॉरवर्ड कैसे भी कह सकते हैं. देखो, when you talk about the relevance of anything, और फॉर एग्जाम्पल जब गांधी की एरा की बात करते हैं और प्रेजेंट कंटेक्स्ट की बात करते हैं, there are various differences that are there. For example, in Gandhian times, for example, we were fighting for independence. And the present context, for example, we are trying to become a 5 trillion economy. In the present context, the society is comparatively much more westernized. In the present context, the society is much more, for example, open, the things that are there. In the present context, we have a huge amount of science and technological developments that are taking place. तो आपने जब अपना in the present context, there is, for example, what else can you can say that very social new issues are coming up in the society. जब आप इंट्रोडक्शन में आप लिखोगे, इंट्रोडक्शन में लिखोगे, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, गांधी when he was there, he was fighting against the Britishers, and today, for example, we are trying to become a 5 trillion economy, for example. And therefore, we have a changed society, we have a changed economy, we have a changed science and technological development sector that are taking place. इन्हीं सबके कंटेक्स्ट में आपको गांधीयन आइडियोलॉजी, गांधीयन प्रिंसिपल्स आपको देखना पड़ेगा. तो whenever you are writing an introduction, try to write your introduction in such a format ताकि एग्जामिनर को ये पता लग सके कि आप इस आंसर में आगे क्या लिखने वाले हो. अगर नॉर्मली बोला गांधी वाज बेसिकली अ फॉलोअर ऑफ फॉर एग्जांपल नॉन वायलेंस और ट्रुथ एंड देयरफॉर दैट इज रेलेवेंट इवन इन द प्रेजेंट कंटेक्स्ट, यू आर जस्ट ट्राइंग टू लिमिट योर आंसर्स इन डायमेंशंस. आई एम सेइंग ऐसा नहीं करना. गांधी के कंटेक्स्ट में हिज फिलॉसफी, हिज आइडियोलॉजी, हिज वे ऑफ थिंकिंग, हिज वे ऑफ वर्किंग, द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ ट्रुथ, द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ नॉन वायलेंस आर इक्वली रेलेवेंट. बट यू डू नॉट हैव टू लिमिट योर आंसर्स ओनली टू दैट कंटेक्स्ट. क्यों? आज के कंटेक्स्ट में सोसाइटी अलग है, आज के कंटेक्स्ट में इकोनॉमी अलग है, आज के कंटेक्स्ट में साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट्स अलग है, आज के कंटेक्स्ट में पॉलिटिकल डायमेंशंस अलग है, आज के कंटेक्स्ट में सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स अलग है. लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं पे एक बेस, एक आधार हमें गांधीयन टाइम्स के भी देखने को मिलता है. तो इंट्रोडक्शन में आपने 20 to 30 वर्ड्स में इस तरीके से लिखना है दैट द सोसाइटी हैव चेंज, अदर थिंग्स हैव चेंज, बट द रेलेवेंस कंपैरेटिवली रिमेन्स फुल. नाउ व्हाट इज the ideology that was put forward by Gandhi that is equally relevant in the context? One relevance could be in the context of, for example, truth. Second dimension, you can basically talk about non-violence. Truth के ऊपर भी थे and non-violence के ऊपर भी थे. One thing is very clear that everyone almost we believe in the principle of truth and non-violence. The principle of truth and non-violence may or may not be implemented 100%. That is possible. But these principles, they basically still, they are the core. What is the core, for example, of the human beings that are there? The core of the well-being that has been there. And therefore, they may not be 100% applicable in the present context. But everyone wants that the society, the economy, everything should be very much clear and the principle of truth should be also there. In the context of political context, for example, also truth and non-violence, they are also there. For example, in the context of non-violence, we have various problems. The problems can be related to, for example, the international relations. The problems can be related to society, for example. Just talking about society, there is the case of intolerance that has been there. And in the case of intolerance, for example, the principle of non-violence as to we do not have to be violent, and where needed, we also need to make a law for this regard. And therefore, if anyone breaks a law coming from any community, there is principle of, for example, intolerance or societal problems are there, lynching and multiple other problems are there. दलित के खिलाफ जो कुछ भी हो रहा है, चाहे वो दलित ही क्यों ना करो, चाहे कॉमन पर्सन फॉर एग्जाम्पल हिंदू क्यों ना करो, जो कोई भी सेक्शन ऑफ सोसाइटी क्यों ना कर रहा हो, अगर उसके खिलाफ से लॉ बना है ना, it will be very much possible to implement that thing. Therefore, the law has to be there. Problems are there. Intolerance was existing earlier. Intolerance exists now. कहीं ना कहीं पे, because every section of society, 100% of society cannot be in the same line of thinking. Therefore, differences are there. Gandhian relevance is, for example, still there. Not only in the context, for example, but also international relations. Just an example, for example, Russia and Ukraine war that has been going on, or what happened in Syria, what happened in Iraq, what happened in, for example, other parts of the world. It becomes equally relevant in the present context that the principle of non-violence should also be followed in the context of international relations also. Same is what Gandhi said, and same is what it is still relevant in the present context. So, वहाँ पे आपको गांधीयन का context में, in the context of various hate crimes that are there, the principle of non-violence, or for example, becomes equally very relevant. N number of hate crimes are going on. Other multiple things are there. And that is another social problem that has been coming up. The problems are there against Dalits, against minorities. And if we are having a law against all these things, तो वहाँ पे solution है. Not only this, for example, in the context of economic dimension also. We are trying to promote Make in India. There, initially, for example, when the computers were introduced, various people were against the introduction of the computers by saying that कि नहीं यार ये बहुत सारी jobs ले जाएगी. लेकिन in the long run, industrial revolution played a very important role, providing new jobs. Computers, for example, new streams started in the computers. Same is the case for development of the Make in India or other things that are there. No doubt the importance of, for example, Swadeshi remains. In this context also, Make in India plays a very important role in the economic sector, in the science sector, technological sector, in the pharmaceutical sector, in the agriculture sector, in the textile sector, whatever sector you can think. This Swadeshi idea of Gandhi that was there, his philosophy of Swadeshi of Gandhi that was there, still remains relevant in the present context also. तो ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा important है economic dimension को, for example, इस चीज़ को समझाना. Initial cause में there can be some problems that are there, but later on it has been there. The basic values that are there, or for example, ethics, truth, non-violence, basic values, basic ethics that are there, or for example, the idea of truth, the idea of non-violent are equally relevant. Even जैसे पहले ही बताया था, not in that 100% cannot be implemented, लेकिन majority, it is, for example, still equally relevant that has been there. And not only this, various countries by following this ideology have attained ideology of non-violence. For India was the first country to attain for independence. In the context of, जब हम बात करते हैं, the economic context की बात करते हैं. For example, opening up of the industries. It is not that Gandhi was against the technology. In the short run, there can be various differences of views that can be there, but in the long run, everyone understands that change is the law of nature. Therefore, Gandhian relevance is still there. But if Gandhian relevance की, for example, आप बात कर रहे हैं, friends, in the 21st century, I would advise you, for example, the principle and ideology is equally relevant in the present context. You do not have to limit your answer only to the social context only. Try to write in the political dimensions that are there. Try to write in the economic dimension that are there. Try to write, for example, social international dimensions that are there. And in all those cases that are there, this ideology becomes equally relevant. In the end, you can write that various countries, they achieved independence in the 21st century by following the policy of truth and non-violence. And the same thing, for example, if we have to bring about what is known as peace and tolerance in the society, the principle of truth and non-violence has to be accepted, and the core ideology, core values of Gandhian ideology and Gandhian principles, they have to be equally made implementable, even if we have to make a law for the same. तो इस तरीके से आप अपने आंसर को बहुत बढ़िया तरीके से लिख सकते हैं. फ्रेंड्स, डू शेयर दीज क्लासेस दैट वी आर कंडक्टिंग ऑन यूट्यूब फॉर हेल्पिंग द स्टूडेंट्स. और जीएस के साथ साथ ऑप्शंस के आंसर राइटिंग भी आपको बहुत कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव तरीके से करवाया जा रहा है. थैंक यू वेरी मच फ्रेंड्स, टेक केयर ऑफ योरसेल्फ.